Give us your view on the opportunity, the viability, some of the challenges. What makes you excited? What makes you cautious about investing in CTV?
Sure. It's an interesting space, as you well know, and I think the evolution has been very exciting. And we have a tendency right now in the course of this pandemic to talk a lot about the growth of e-commerce, right? That's been like the hot topic, the growth of e-commerce. But there's some even more recent reports from eMarketer and a few others talking about the growth of cord cutting and the growth of consumers choosing app-based television products and capabilities. People are just getting their television in new and interesting ways. And I think that gets to be very exciting when we think about how audiences are shifting where they're spending their time and where they're spending their attention when it comes to television like content. And it's not always, your classic linear television show. It can be all sorts of different content features coming from different content creators. But I think it's fascinating to watch how consumers are shifting. It's a very important place, not just for us, but for many marketers to pay attention to. It's certainly on a high growth trajectory. It presents all sorts of interesting opportunities in targeting and better audience understanding, but it's also very nascent and it has a lot of room for growth and improvement, in my opinion. As you well know, we are fairly strict as an organization about verification and making sure that we are avoiding places with fraud, that our content is being seen, our creative is being seen in environments that are appropriate for our brands. And I think I've said this to you in the past, have always believed that advertising done well is a service ultimately to the consumer. So in order to do that well, the advertising needs to be seen in the right place at the right time. It needs to be in a content and context that makes sense. Verification partners like a DoubleVerify and others give brands the opportunity to make sure that the content that we're serving, the creative that we're serving, is served not only safely but also smartly to the consumer. And I think that's the brand's benefit. Our challenge in this space is measurement and scale. Those are the two biggest challenges I see in the world of CTV at the moment. Is we need more scale, which it's growing. Like I said, it's growing tremendously. I think we're just going to see more and more over time. Measurement is a place where we just don't have the cross-device measurement. We don't have the cross-platform measurement that we'd like to see yet. And it's a place where I continue to challenge all of our partners to come back to us with potential solutions. I think in the early days of the pandemic, brands had a moment where they really had to reassess what they were doing in the space from a creative perspective first. And that meant taking a really hard look at the ad units that you were putting forward. Were you showing two people hugging, kissing, high-fiving? There were just things at the time that felt inappropriate to show, or that could be very much showing the wrong message in that moment. I had clients who had taglines of their brands that weren't appropriate for the time and place that we were in, and they needed to make some really hard decisions on pulling taglines off of their Twitter handles and out of their ad campaigns. And then you also had to ask the question, are you really trying to sell product right now, or are you trying to put forward a heartfelt message? And we saw so many brands try and put forward we are here for you, we are here together, we are one, shelter in place, wear a mask, make sure to stay safe, wash your hands. Everyone really tried to rally around making sure that we were sending the right messages to consumers to try and keep people safe and healthy and well. And I think that was really smart. At the same time, because people were sheltering in place, we saw television and video watching increase exponentially. We saw time with media increase, I think, to the tune of 41 minutes, which was a shock to everyone. We've been expecting time with media to continue to increase in very small increments, and all of a sudden had this spike that we hadn't been expecting. And some of the reporting tools that report on those numbers made statements in early January of what they expected for 2020, and then restated them in April because they were expecting bigger changes than they had seen, than they had predicted before. All of this leading to brands starting to ask, as we come back, as we think about opening up the economy again, as we start to get back to messages that allow us to understand that the supply chain isn't as limited as it was before. People do still want to buy product. How do we make sure that we're marketing to them in the right channels? The shifts into digital and the shifts into social have been dramatic. And I've seen that across previous clients, and I've seen that in the business that I'm in today. I think those are all great opportunities for us to make sure that we are more paying attention to the places where our customers are as opposed to historically where we've presumed they be. But that takes a lot for big companies like the ones that I've worked on previously and the one that I'm at right now to make a large shift in their investment in a period of time, especially in a period of time where investments were getting cut across the board for all advertisers. Took some bravery. E-commerce has seen exponential growth. I think the numbers are saying 10 years of growth in 8 months, numbers that I don't think any of us were expecting. New consumer behaviors. They're shopping in social media, they're shopping online in general. Consumers recognize that they have to be able, or they have to be comfortable putting their credit card number in or having some other payment platforms. I do think we were already at a bit of a tipping point for the industry in that so many new payment platforms had come available to consumers to make the checkout process easier in the process of doing e-commerce, and more confident that you're not necessarily giving your credit card number to every single vendor that you work with, but you're giving it to a very specific partner like a Shopify or someone else who just has it on file. You have a one-to-one trusted relationship with the payment vendor and not having to worry about all of the other retailers that you're putting your dollars against. I think it gives consumers confidence that it's easier and safer to do that e-commerce shopping. It also means that your goods get delivered to your door. It means you're less risk of exposure in going outside. You have more control over what you're getting, what you're not getting. The thing that I worry about in that space and the risk that I see is a loss of potential serendipity, that we may actually be getting to a place where, because the targeting of our advertising is so good, because the focus of what we can put in front of a customer is so specific, that we may be taking away the opportunity for consumers to truly discover. And I get a little worried about the future of commerce and the future of potential upstart brands and upcoming brands if they don't have the opportunity to be an aha moment for a customer. Just something for us to keep an eye on.